So that is that Poland will no longer arm Ukraine. As Ukraine's most staunch supporter outside of the United States, which has funneled billions and billions of dollars to it, Poland has been one of the most outspoken supporters of Ukraine. And now they've had enough. Would you like to hear what the Polish Prime Minister said about Ukraine?
Sure. Mateusz, right?
President Andrzej Duda.
That's the president. The
Yes.
Prime Minister is Mateusz Morawiecki.
The Polish president. Right.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday in New York, while he was attending the UN, he said, quote, Ukraine is behaving like a drowning person, clinging to everything he can. But we have the right to defend ourselves against harm being done to us.
Wow. That's
strong.
That's a message right there. Well, actually, just for you guys to know, we were in Poland a few months ago, and we kind of saw things on the ground, and Polish people weren't that happy or excited about what their government is embarking on. Speaking of Poland, before I forget, next week we're going to have a guest who knows very, very great deal about Poland. So we'll let you know about that. So the idea has always been, okay, and Polish people were like just questioning the judgments of their governments. Here you are giving all these resources to Ukrainians at the expense of Polish citizens. Is no different than what we are having here in the US.
Yeah.
Did you not find out that yesterday the feds went ahead to the border between Texas and Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico. Yeah.
And went ahead and cut off the barbed wires that the Texas put to block illegals from. Basically, the feds did that.
Yeah.
Biden administration did that. All of a sudden, you see, a massive amount of people coming in, and it's kind of okay.
Well, but they're being, and I guess this is more of a topic for Rumble overall.
Oh,
but
yeah, we can do it here.
And also, guys, we have a Rumble. We did a Rumble live. Here is the link to it. We're able to speak a little bit more freely on Rumble, so
we can do this topic there.
We can do that topic. But apparently they're being bussed to other cities.
Yeah, and $300 a week.
Yeah.
At the expense of the American taxpayers.
Right.
So that's another topic we're going to get into.
But yes, Poland has taken more refugees than any other country. Poland is the go-between between the rest of NATO and Ukraine.
But here is not the funny thing, but put in my geopolitical analyst hat, I can tell you with high probability the reason why the comedian President Zelensky mentioned at the UN speech. You know what did he say? And I paraphrase here. He said, well, Poland will be next. The Russians are going to invade Poland. It was meant to stoke that fear in Poland, but also in a reaction to the Polish decision. But here is what I found very interesting. It's the same statement that Mikhail Saakashvili, who used to be the head of Georgia, said about Finland and Sweden. Soon Russia is going to invade Finland and Sweden. It's the same scenario.
Did not happen.
It did not. Do you want to take control of your financial future but don't know where to start? Noble Gold Investments understand. Investing in precious metals may sound confusing, but the team at Noble Gold Investments makes it easy. Let's hear from actual Noble Gold Investment customers. Quote, the staff answered all my questions and helped me every step all the way. End of quote. Another quote, no pressure sales tactics, just honest guidance. End of quote. Another quote, securing my future is less stressful thanks to Noble Gold expertise. End of quote. So don't settle for financial uncertainty. They will suggest options and see if you can diversify into gold and silver. Right now, Noble Gold Investments is offering a free 5-ounce silver America, the beautiful bullion coin, for qualified accounts. Don't settle for financial uncertainty. Noble Gold Investment has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews. So why wait? Go to geopoliticsgold.com now. Geopoliticsgold.com, the only company I trust. But remember, there are always risks of investments and there are no guarantees of any kind.
So, and this is where I think the comedian Zelensky is realizing enough is enough, but Poland also is thinking about its own, and rightly so.
Rightly so.
This is not about just its citizens,
Yeah.
it's about its military structure.
Absolutely.
What Polish or Poland government wants to do, they wanted to strengthen their military. And here is the thing, here is the shocker. This might shock you.
Mhm.
Based on my understanding and whatever I know, if Poland focuses all its energy on its military,
Yeah.
it will become one of the best in Europe.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Forget about Germany, forget
yeah.
about the UK.
Yeah. Well, I have relatives that were in the Polish military recently, young relatives.
So it's the idea of, and this is where now you start to see why the Germans were pushing against Poland, because they were pushing against Poland. They didn't want Poland to build its own military.
Yeah.
So because Germans have no sovereignty. We dictate to the Germans what to do and say. And we told the foreign minister Annalena Baerbock to say, she is a dictator, because we said that, which is ridiculous and stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
And a bad move for them. It's
so
move
bad
for
that
anybody.
you are asking China for help with the, it just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
You can say one thing and do the opposite.
Right.
And this is why Poland, I think, it's coming to grip with the reality.
I agree.
Now, there are two other main issues that's going on with this. Now, I do not know for fact whether they are related or not. And I'm going to just say it out there and let you reach your conclusion. The two events are demonstrations in Prague and demonstrations in Magdeburg in Germany. I think it's a small city on the eastern side of Berlin. Between the two, but mainly the one in Prague, you know what they're asking for, in addition to the resignation of the government, is for Czech Republic to leave NATO altogether.
Yeah.
I don't know if this has to do with it, that Poland is seeing, because Prague is just right there, across the border. You know, you can take a train from Warsaw directly into Prague. I don't know.
Yeah.
If Poland's seeing that and start to think ahead, I don't know.
So there's an interesting phenomenon. So what we're hearing is the reason that this is happening is because Poland wants to basically protect its own, right? So there's a ton of Ukrainian grain that is being more or less flooding the neighboring countries because they can't get it they can't send it anywhere else. Right? So it's flooding the neighboring countries and it's hurting the farmers in those countries. It's hurting the citizenry of those countries. And so Poland and a couple of other countries said, nope, sorry, no Ukrainian grain, because it's hurting our people and we cannot allow that to happen. And so it's very interesting though, because the narrative with Ukraine has been, we have to save Ukraine. But we're coming up on a year and a half, right? So we're a year and a half. If it continues, we'll head towards 2 years of this conflict. And so other countries, how long can they bear the burden of that?
Well, that's why you're seeing now Ukraine, or even the narrative. The narrative in some Western capitals are now leaning more towards, well, we should start to consider negotiations with the Russians. And Russians are saying, we'll see. Because here's the thing. One statement by Olaf Scholz, he said, as precondition for negotiations, Russia will have to return all the territory it took over. Forget about that. Russia ain't gonna turn back. That territory is gone. And I am even leaning more towards, for this settlement to be reached, Ukraine will have to be carved out. And I will even go as far as saying that Poland might have its own eyes on the western side of Ukraine. Because once that happens, Ukraine becomes a landlocked. Because once the Black Sea is done on all that. And so you're absolutely correct that this one has to do part of it with grain, because 90% of the grain goes through Poland.
Right.
But at the same time, you get countries in Europe. Actually, I get a list of the countries: Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland, Romania, and Slovakia. Those are all considered like sort of a transits, but their local farmers are being harmed,
absolutely,
economically speaking. And they said, well, forget about this. We can't. And rightly so. This is what a government ought to do.
Right.
You got to think for the welfare of your citizens.
I have a lot of respect for the Polish government for doing this.
Yeah.
It is, in fact, it's actually not unpopular at this point.
No.
Globally, it's not unpopular. And I do have a lot of respect for the Polish government for doing this.
Yeah.
For taking care of, because the entire time. So one of the most interesting things about this move is basically Poland is saying, Ukraine, you have been extremely ungrateful for the support that we have shown you and the support that we have given you. And you just seem to be asking for more and more and more.
And where does it go?
And that's a great question. We're going to address that in the next topic, because where does that go?
Good.
So when Zelensky addressed the UN General Assembly, he said, alarmingly, some in Europe play out solidarity in a political theater, turning grain into a thriller. I wonder who's talking about. They may seem to play their own roles. In fact, they're helping set the stage for a Moscow actor.
So you can see the narrative has been provided for him to read.
Yeah.
First of all, there is no way he can write stuff like that.
No.
I guarantee you that. Yeah. And second thing, did you guys know that when he started his speech at the UN, half of the room left?
Yeah. That's a really important thing, guys. That's a really important thing. Yeah.
I had a picture somewhere on my tweet. I wish I would have kept it, but half of the room left. Yeah. It's because they're saying, well, to me, it was the idea of they didn't want to listen to nonsense, basically.
Well, it's the same rhetoric. There's only so much you can do. It's been the same rhetoric, the same narrative for a year and a half, right? And you know, I'm not advocating for Russia, okay? Because, you know, Russian aggression did happen. There are a lot of people
but
dead,
Russian aggression,
and it's not okay.
Yeah, but I challenge you on this. Russian aggression happened because of a reaction to NATO's expanding all the way. They promised.
Right.
1991, after the disintegration of Soviet Union, James Baker, the former Secretary of State, went to Moscow in St. Catherine at the halls there. And he said, we promise you that NATO, we will not expand an inch eastward. What did we end up doing? Three expansions. Yeah, absolutely. 1998, 2004, and 2007.
Yeah.
And of course, with 2014, what happened? That's where the... Right. So it's kind of Russia. Yeah. I know someone's going to say, well, the aggression. I don't see it that way.
Right.
I understand the destructions that is happening.
Yeah.
I feel for the Ukrainian people.
Me too.
Because those are the ones that end up in suffering.
Yeah.
But war is not pretty. In war, you don't distinguish between this and that. When you fire whatever, whomever end up being there is destroyed.
Yeah.
Be it an elderly or be it a young kid.
Yeah.
You know, as sad as it is, it's sad reality. But also, what we do not want to admit is the fact as to what triggers
what
this.
Triggered it. Absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree with you. So what I'm saying is I don't condone war of any kind.
Of course.
I just don't. I think that it's horrific and the loss of life is horrible. But you are absolutely right. The narrative has started as, well, Russia started this. But so on Rumble, I showed a video yesterday of Jen Stoltenberg talking about what actually did start it. So if you guys want to check that out, check out our Rumble. I think I still have the link up. But of Jen Stoltenberg saying that the reason that this started is because Russia said NATO, who has stated that they are anti-Russia, okay?
Yeah.
NATO's whole purpose is that they're anti-Russia, that NATO not expand to their doorstep.
Yeah.
If somebody who has stated that they are against you moves to the front of your house and stands there, what would you do?
You're right.
Would you just say, okay, this person who is against me or who hates me is just going to stand in front of my house and I'm going to be okay with it?
Be okay with that.
You're not. That's insanity to think that that's the case. So do I think war is wrong in every single circumstance? Yes, I personally do.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely, it is wrong to not acknowledge what the series of events were that led to this.
Well, that's why it'll make more sense to invest in peace than invest in war. It's less costly.
Absolutely.
But sometimes throughout history, it is through war that things had to be settled.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the West is not thinking far, far ahead, that they are edging closer to that red line where it will be no point of return.
Well,
that's the way I see it.
So one of the things, and I wanted to bring this up as its own topic, but there's a lot going on. So I'm bringing this up here.
Yeah.
There's a conversation now in Washington among generals that this is a long haul war. And remember how we were talking about that, right? We were talking about, they're planning this actually as, we left Afghanistan. We need a new place to send all of our arms, because if we're not at war with anybody, where does our military industrial complex, where are they going to sell their weapons to, right? If no one's at war, where, are they going to decide that they're going to be infrastructure builders? Or are they going to change their industry? Probably not, right? So the conversation is now that this is going to become a long haul war, and the only people who can decide that is the populations of the countries involved.
Well, I found the picture here just to share it with you guys quickly. Just take a look here, and there's not much to see to it, but it's hard to see.
Let me see.
I don't know how to
make it bigger.
Yeah. Somebody put a comment for me about I need to learn how to do the picture clear.
Okay, here, wait. Let me see if I can make it bigger here.
Anyway, my point on this is you can see most of the seats are empty because
scroll up a little bit, David.
Up?
Yeah, scroll up just a bit so we can see more of the image. Yeah, perfect.
See, look at all this. Yeah. All these seats here are empty, but